Hello everyone, my name is Beckett and welcome back to the channel. And today in Division 2 I got another build video for you guys, and we are going to be checking out the ongoing Directive set. And I have a build that is going to compete with the best solo builds out there, and it also works great in a group scenario, but honestly this is a solo build and you guys are going to have a lot of fun with this bleed build. But before we get into it, if you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe button, and if you like the video, smash that like. Now before we hop into the build, let's hop into the playstyle. So we're going to be using the 4-piece ongoing directive, and every time we kill a status effect enemy, we get hollow point bullets directly loaded into our magazine. We don't have to reload, we don't have to do anything. And every time we hit someone, not only is it going to increase our damage, but we're going to put a bleed dot onto the enemy. Now this bleed is really amazing if we can spread it around to the enemy, and that's when we have to kind of throw SMGs, ARs, shotguns out the window, because we are not going to be able to spread fast enough. We want the whole group just dropping all at the same time, while we also focus a main target, whether it be elite or a name boss, whatever it is. Now the reason we want to spread around our bleeds is not only for damage, but to keep our hollow point rounds up, because if we're shooting, let's say, at a red enemy, we just have to put one bullet into them and the bleed effect is going to do the rest. And as soon as that bleed effect kills them, we're going to get that refill of hollow point ammo. It works for purple enemies too. You may have to put a couple extra shots, but that dot damage is just going to wipe through their health bars instantly. Now this is going to take off a lot of stress, because now we don't have to worry about those red or purple enemies on the dots on there. They're going to die, we're going to get our ammo, and we can just focus on those elites, those dangerous enemies, those chungas that are going to give us a hard time and make us wipe. And especially if we're in that solo scenario, there is no coming back if we don't have a revive hive. Now let's take a look at specializations. Now your choices are very open, and honestly I'm going to say you can choose whatever you want. You can go with gunner, it's always a great choice. You have rate of fire, you have handling, armor on kill, there's many things. You can also use survivalist, which is very great because you have the little survival seeker mender mine, and that actually does a lot of healing, and it was very comparable when you have your tree and everything maxed out to the armor on kill. And it just depends what you prefer. You can even get away with technician. Like I said, at the end of the day, just choose whatever you want for this build. Now let's hop over to weapons. We are going to be using the Bullet King. This is the exotic LMG, and it comes with the talent Bullet Hell. This weapon never needs to be reloaded, and for every 100 bullets that hits an enemy, replenish some ammo to you and your allies. This is great. It just has great synergy with the ongoing directive. We're never going to run out of hollow point rounds. We're never going to have to reload. Just keep firing. Just keep those bleeds up. Now let's get into the gear we're going to be using. We're going to be using the exotic mask, the vial, and it comes with a talent Toxic Delivery. Status effects also apply a damage over time debuff for 10 seconds. Damage is equal to 50% of your concussion grenade. Now this is great because every time we apply a bleed, we apply that vial. And the great thing about the vial debuff, even if that kills an enemy, it's still going to proc our hollow point rounds, and the damage on this is kind of insane. You're doing between 300 and 400k damage per second just on the dots, not on any bullets, not on anything else. Just the status effects is going to be doing 400k damage per second. It's kind of insane. Now we're going to hop over to our backpack, and we are going to be using the Eclipse protocol. This is just so good. We're going to want to re-roll it to 15% weapon damage, and we're going to want status effects on this. And we're going to be rolling status effects on every piece of gear we can get. And it comes with the talent System Aggravator, amplifies all damage you deal to status effects targets. That means our bullets, that means our dots, everything is going to be 30% amplified damage. Now whenever you see that, that's not 30% weapon damage, that is actually an extra multiplier. So it'll be 30% and a little extra. Well worth it. Whenever you see those amplified talents, it's always about the verbiage. If it just says 30% weapon damage, just 30% weapon damage. But when we get into like the amplified with the glass cannons and other things like that, that's when we start doing crazy damage. And 30% amplified damage to all targets, from our dots, from our bullets, from everything going out. Now, as for the rest of the pieces, we are going to be using the 4-piece ongoing directive. Comes with 15% status effects and the reload speed. That doesn't actually matter for us, but these status effects are nice, and it comes with rules of engagement. Killing a status effect enemy grants hollow point ammo for your active weapon. Hollow point ammo amplifies weapon damage by 20% and applies that bleed that we were talking about. Not only that, but we are going to be using the chest, so we are going to get that extra amplified damage, and it's going to be going up to 35%. So we have the 35% amplified weapon damage, we have the 30% going out from the backpack, and at the end of the day we have all this passive damage, and all we have to worry about is shooting the enemy. We don't have to manage any buffs, switch anything, just keep those status effects and keep shooting. Now, when it comes to gear mods, if you want more damage, just do critical hit damage and critical hit chance inside there. If you feel like the damage is too spiky, throw on some protection from elite mods. You can also put skill haste if you wanted to or you felt need to, or even like skill repair if you were running survivalist. Now, when you're running skills, Revive Hive is always a safe bet for this build. You can also run the Seeker Mender Mine if you're running Survivalist, and you're just going to want another skill that applies a status effect. Blinder is the easiest because you can throw that across the map, blind 3 or 4 enemies. You're going to get that Vile debuff going, and you could just focus fire a red enemy and get those hollow point rounds. And then from there, especially if you're running solo, you're never going to run out of hollow point rounds unless you run into like a big chunga, and it might happen, but you can always reset it and get that running again. Now, when it comes to stats, if you can roll weapon damage on any piece of gear, roll weapon damage on it. The rest is just going to be in status effects. You're not going to have 6 red cores since we're going to have the 1 skill tier from the Vile, but the damage is going to make up for it in tenfold. Now, this build does have its downsides. It's not perfect in every situation, and it's mostly because of Ongoing Directive. Ongoing Directive has a big problem when it comes to group play. This build is really focused on a solo-centric playstyle, because as soon as you get into group and you cannot get a kill on a status effect enemy, I've had situations where I didn't have my hollow point rounds up for 1 or 2 minutes just because it was bad luck. I was like, either my blinder will go on Firefly, I want to get a kill, someone steal a kill. And if you're not running with another CC out there, you're going to be in trouble. That's another big thing. If you're in a group situation, it's always good to run with someone like who's running an Eclipse protocol build, a CC build, something where you always know you can get that proc. So what you're always going to want to do is just make sure when you get that status effect, kill that red guy, like in solo where you can just put that dot up and not have to worry about it. When you're playing in a group situation, you're gonna have to make sure you get that kill, and sometimes you may not get it. Someone might just get lucky and get that last bullet, and that's where it struggles. And I wouldn't suggest it in group play, although it does work. There are better builds out there if you were going to be running group play, and especially if you wanted to run an LMG. But when we get into solo play, all of those problems are completely gone. Ongoing Directive has no effect. We can always keep those bleeds up. We're never going to run out of hollow point ammo. Like I said, maybe once or twice through an entire mission. Other than that, you just unload and you're just having fun all day. But when we get into that group, we see a lot of the flaws and a lot of the problems. So if you're looking for a really sturdy solo build, this is the one for you. It's not a run and gun. We're not going to be in people's face like Hunter's Fury, but we're going to be shredding everything. Everything's going to be bleeding and melting. You're going to see the whole mission, rooms just dropping. Now, that's all I have for the build video today, but if you're looking for more Division 2 content, whether it be builds, tutorials, news, for new players, old players, and everything in between, go ahead and check out my channel, and thanks for sticking around and watching my video.